stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
The schedule does not get any easier. While the track may get bigger, the racing is just as difficult as we come to Darlington, South Carolina, and the Darlington Raceway for round number 6 of the Western States Racing League. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening alongside me, my broadcast partner, Mike Demone. Mike, a very close competitive race at Bristol last week with an incredible finish at the end with Mike Fisher running out of fuel coming out of turn 4. He's going to look for a little bit more, a larger margin of victory here tonight, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. That was a lot closer than he thought it was going to be. But, I mean, at least he was able to get that win, even though he did run out of fuel. Every race we've seen some sort of dramatic type finish, and I don't think Darlington is going to disappoint here either.
No, absolutely not. And a little bit smaller of a field than what we are used to here with the Western States Racing League. We have 21 drivers here tonight. As we'll take a look at the point standings, those smaller fields tend to mean that you have a little bit better an opportunity to move up through the field. Jeff Schmeier, now the new points leader over Wayne Hutchison after a good finish for him. Bob Beltrami not here. Apparently that wreck at Bristol did a wallop on him. as he had hip surgery over the last week. Jeff Hollingsworth, Brian Barnes, your top 5 points are going to shift here a little bit as we're seeing guys who normally don't miss races start missing races.
Yeah, we are. I mean, usually when you get towards this time of year, you'll have a few guys call out and stuff, but these guys do have drop weeks, so this early in the season, it's not really going to matter too much, but the surprise that we've been talking about, last couple of weeks is Bentley Glazer. Looks like he is down in 22nd, 105 points, so he's on the outside looking in. He only has a couple drop weeks, and he's missed a couple weeks too, so we'll see if he can turn it around the next half of the season, because I don't see him in here tonight either.
It's been quite interesting. Bentley Glazer's been one of those guys who usually come into the session right around now. We haven't seen that much out of that number 87 this season, as he's taken a little bit of a step back, I would have to assume, from the Western States Racing League. And for the guy who's won the last 3 championships running, a couple of them being doubles, it's quite an interesting take, and it's also allowing some different guys to really shine this season.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of shakes up the field a little bit, gives different guys a chance to lead and get out there and show what they can do on track. I mean, we've seen Mike Fisher come in here, had a couple different nice runs from Hollingsworth and Schmeier. So it definitely shakes it up a little bit, and we'll see what it also does with going back and forth between Xfinity and these trucks.
And speaking of which, Xfinity returns next time out. It'll be 2 weeks from tonight at Texas Motor Speedway, and then they go to Iowa in the Xfinity cars before we're back in the trucks for Hickory and Daytona to round out the first half of the season. So this will be the final race before we get a little bit of an off week, 6 weeks in a row to start this season. It's going to be quite nice, especially seeing as though it's Valentine's Day, to get a nice little week off, a little bit of a rest, to get your mind right going into the next little run of races.
Yeah, definitely. You get a little break, especially after, you had Mid-Ohio, Bristol, and then here at Darlington. Kind of get you set up, and then you kind of get relaxed a little bit as you go to the Xfinity cars at Texas, and then they go throw Iowa and Hickory at you. So definitely gives you a little bit of a break, but not too much.
Yeah, the first half of this schedule has been the ringer here. They have not made it easy this year in season number 48, as we are looking to see who is getting out on track, and it appears to be some of the normal culprits here out on the track early. Both Earl and David Weaver jumping out on track. Wayne Hutchison, Josh Weaver also rolling. James Campbell starting to roll as well as we get qualifying for round 6 underway.
Yeah, these guys that we usually see out and about are taking their same stroll they did before.
Oh, it appears as though a mistake must have been made here in this session, because it is an open qualifying here tonight. Watch out!
Whoa, Christian Bishop about got sideswiped there.
May have gotten a little bit there with net code. But yeah, I wasn't expecting that. Open 10-minute qualifying session here.
Yeah, that definitely will make it a little bit different here. As it looks like David Weaver completes his first lap and gets top of the board with 29.95.
Wayne Hutchison P2 in that number 17 Dog Bear machine. Nice looking paint there on that number 17. Of course, for those of you who have been with SRM for a while, back when we were covering the Majors series, Dog Bear Motorsports being the team that Wayne Hutchinson drives for. As Ryan Steele now jumping up to the top of the pylon at 29.64, also a member of that Dog Bear team.
There. Oh, loose.
Oh, yeah.
Right in front of Ryan Steele that goes Ross Rollins again.
Fortunately for Steele, his lap was already done. As Wayne Hutchison coming off of turn number 4. Right behind him is the 88 of Paul Crumry, who jumps up to the 4th spot. So a solid run there for Crumry.
Yeah, Mike Fisher jumps up to P3 with the 29.75. So last week's winner's trying to get all he can out of that truck.
He's got a little bit too much coming out of there. Still fastest of all in the final sector, and fastest of all by 4 1,000ths of a second. 43 up to the top.
You got to wonder if some of these guys are just going to sit back and hope the rest of the field kind of decides they're done and heads to pit lane so they have the track all to themselves.
Lap by Brian Barnes, a 29.61 puts him up to the top in that number 4, and there's apparently no lap limit that these guys will adhere to tonight. So Ryan Steele coming across.
Yeah, Earl Weaver's up there completing his 6th lap here.
It's not that often you see a 6-lap qualifying attempt in an oval. We were used to seeing 4 with the Dallara IR18 500. Christian Bishop going to 3rd quickest. Fastest of all through 1 and 2. Not fast.
Christian Bishop won when we were at Mid-Ohio. Kind of one of the road course ringers here in Western States.
Ross Rawlings, fastest of all at turns 1 and 2. Goes better still on this lap. He's got a full 10th on the rest of the field at 29.50 for Ross Rawlings.
It looks like he's going to bring it in, maybe?
Wayne Hutchison cannot better his time. Brian Barnes coming back out onto the circuit. Jeff Hollingsworth on a flyer right now. Fastest of all through turns 1 and 2. Nice, tidy, consistent line through 3 and 4. Crash in front of him. It's not going to affect him all that much. And Hollingsworth to the front row of 29.51 for Hollingsworth.
Jeff Schmeier up there with the 29.55. Mike Fisher just best the time with the 29.47.
Very good lap for that 43. He was the fastest car in the practice session, was Mike Fisher. Charles Woods coming through to complete what would be his 5th lap of qualifying, and now that will not matter. Paul Crumry done. Here's Julian Ricci sliding off of turn 2. We're going to see a lot of guys do that tonight.
I'll say we're going to see him slide off turn 2 and especially off of turn 4 because that 3-4 is way tighter than 1-2.
Mike Fisher in the background there. Not quite on personal bests. It's about 0.3 off his fastest lap there. Fred Williams crossing the line. Personal best for him, a 30.04 for the number 95. 15th quickest for him. Dustin Burns sliding off of turn 4. 31 flat for Dustin Burns. William Fletcher and James Campbell have not yet put down a qualifying lap. Everyone else has put down at least 5, including this man, the points leader, Jeff Schmeier. Points leader and previous winner here at Darlington, Jeff Schmeier.
It looks like Brian Barnes is back out on track trying to get everything he can out of that truck and See if he can better his time.
Schmeier had a very good first half. He's going to have an even better second half. Clears Fisher by a tenth, a 29.37 for the number 30. Very, very good run for him. And Mike, as you mentioned, here's the 4, Brian Barnes. Personal best 1 and 2 that time around. Matches his best time. 29.61 for Barnes as Christian Bishop making his way through 3 and 4. Right up next to that wall.
It jumps up a little bit there. 29.55.
Jeff Schmeier coming back out on track, and this is where you start thinking about timing.
Yep.
You want to be the last driver.
Yeah, Brian Barnes just completed his 7th lap with a 29.46. Good enough for the front row.
Second position for Brian Barnes, and as we mentioned, timing. Come down pit road, get yourself a fresh set of tires, go out there for one more give it all lap. Julian Ricci. Personal best, stays 13th though. Jeff Schmeier has the pole. He'll be looking to extend it for sure. Oh, he's not going to get the chance to.
That one.
He's pretty much done with qualifying as well because he's not going to be able to get a representative speed up, as Jeff Hollingsworth certainly a guy who can take the pole away from him. Big wiggle out of 2 though. He'll get one more lap. All of the drivers in the top 5 are in pit road. 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th are trying to better their lap. Final lap for Hollingsworth.
Don't think he'll have enough time to complete his. Christian Bishop should complete his right on time.
He might get another one too, because with the open qualifying, you're allowed to complete the lap that you're on. Bishop does not take it though. Here comes Hollingsworth completing his lap. Charles Woods to follow. Hollingsworth not quicker. Here comes Woods. Woods is 9th at the moment. He will not complete. Josh Weaver cuts it off. David Weaver, everyone looks to be cutting their laps off. Jeff Schmeier taking the pole.
So open qualifying, we've got guys that went 11, 12 laps. So whether or not they qualified well or not, they at least got some more experience on the track.
Driver who ran the most laps in that qualifying session, I believe, was Earl Weaver. As we'll now take a look at the starting grid here for tonight's race. Jeff Schmeier with a time of 29.369. Setting pole time here. Brian Barnes will line up next to him on row number 1. Mike Fisher and Ross Rawlings in row number 2. Row 3 will seat Wayne Hutchison and Jeff Hollingsworth with Christian Bishop and Ryan Steele in row 4. Row 5 will go to Charles Woods and Julian Ricci.
Row number 6 is Earl Weaver and Eric Woods. Paul Crumry and David Weaver make up row 7. Row 8, Fred Williams and Josh Weaver. Row 9, Barry Phil and Keith Kelman. Dustin Burns and Angelo Espo are in row 10. And rounding out the field is James Campbell and William Fletcher. The last 3 did not take a qualifying run, so we'll see what type of speed they have when it gets to race time here.
So they will start via their iRating. We'll take a look now at the weather conditions here for tonight's race. Just past 8 o'clock p.m. in sim time, 77-degree ambient temperature, 80-degree track temperature. So it's going to go down. Both the ambient temperature and the track temperature are going to go down as this race goes on, which means these trucks are going to get faster as the night goes on.
Yeah, you're not going to have to worry quite so much about it getting hot and slippery like they do during the daytime race. It should basically come to them a little bit more. But we'll see how this all shakes out once we get going. We do have 117 laps with only 3 sets of tires in the pits. So
your classic twilight race here at Darlington Raceway, waiting on Fred Williams and William Fletcher to grid up now. William Fletcher did not participate for the latter stage of the practice session, nor did he lay a lap down in qualifying. And it looks as though Fred Williams at least will not grid up with the rest of the field. So we have 20 drivers rolling off. One I would have to anticipate not starting, and another one in limbo.
yeah, I think we've seen Fred Williams elect to start from the pits a couple times. Tries to stay out of the way for a little bit. And then, like you said, William Fletcher is probably not going to lay a lap here tonight.
And we have seen Williams take part in qualifying and then not race. So that's also something to keep an eye on. He has been excluded from the results a number of times this season for not participating in the race, even after qualifying. Need to complete at least a couple of green flag laps if you want to get scored. And Mike, we're about to go for 107 laps here at Darlington.
Yes, we are. Pace truck is in. Jeff Schmeier down on the inside. They will go on green. Schmeier on the inside. Brian Barnes on the outside. Front row, and we are green here at Darlington for 117 laps at the Lady in Black.
Mike Fisher getting a nice little open lane there to the bottom in turn one. Jeff Schmeier away and clear. Brian Barnes stuck on that high line, not going to want to be there for too long, as now Fisher starting to force his way through, but Ross Rawlings filling the slot.
Ross Rawlings trying to get down there right inside of Brian Barnes and keep him up stuck on that high line. That is not really a place you want to be, especially when you come out of turn 4 there, because that wall just comes out and grabs you sometimes. But they get in line, and it's single file here at Darlington.
It's the legendary line from Days of Thunder. You don't want to be at the outside of turn 4. However, back when the movie was filmed, that was turn 4, and you could certainly see why you wouldn't want to be stuck out there, as Schmeier already out to a 1.1 second lead.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier used that open qualifying session and put down several of the faster laps here, but he is driving away from this field. Wayne Hutchison down to the inside, going to try and that wasn't Wayne Hutchison. That was Jeff Hollinsworth that jumped down to the inside and fell backwards. Yeah.
Jeff Schmeier has done for anyone who watched Formula One during the early 2010s. Jeff Schmeier has Sebastian Vettel'd the field. He has gotten out to a 1.5 second lead seemingly instantly. And fortunately for him, he doesn't have to worry about guys getting into his DRS range with these NASCAR Now Craftsman trucks, as Mike Fisher still holding service. And this is going to be the way you're going to see a lot of racing here tonight. Fresh tires, everyone's going to be running single file. It's going to be who saves the tires is how you're going to determine who's moving forward and who's moving backwards.
Yeah, tires are going to be everything here at Darlington, especially once they start getting a few laps on them. We'll see who can move down and make passes relatively quickly. So it looks like everybody's still basically just going to stay single file through the field here.
Not too much action going on as we see Christian Bishop, I believe that was Julian Ricci getting into the outside wall. That'll allow Charles Woods to sneak up under him. And I think Brian Barnes might have done the same thing because they were 3 wide to his inside there for a moment. Check the door.
Yeah, it looks like just a little bit, but enough to slow him down.
Going by too quick, couldn't see the doggone door. There's that number 4.
Yeah. Doesn't look like he hit it too bad, didn't scuff it up that bad. Maybe the right front quarter panel a little bit, but
if I saw anything, it looked like it was just behind the rear wheel, the front right wheel well.
Yep.
Is where he would have gotten it, if any. Julian Ricci's damage is a little bit more obvious to see. There it is on the right front of that car. Really starting to put Charles Woods under pressure, as we've now had a change for second position. Ross Rawlings up into the second spot. Jeff Schmeier already 2.3 seconds clear of the rest of the field.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier's just driving away. Ross Rawlings has been one of the faster trucks. Even in that qualifying session, he got a little loose and had a couple hiccups there, but looks like he's starting to drive away from Mike Fisher with relative ease here as well.
Races have been run here at Darlington in each of the last 3 seasons with a grand total of 9 cautions. Last time out was last season. 2 cautions. These guys have gotten better every single year running around this place, as there goes Wayne Hutchison looking to the inside of Mike Fisher. This for third. Hollingsworth to follow.
Hollingsworth to follow, and it looks like Steele's looking to the inside pretty quickly as well there.
Jump on board with Ryan Steele. Sliding in behind, and this is definitely a rhythm racetrack, and finding that rhythm is not easy, but once you get in it, boy, it's a rewarding place to know that you hit the line and you hit the lap time perfectly.
Yeah, as you're seeing when we're on board here, you see the different lines that Steele's running and Fisher and Hollingsworth, because all 3 of them wound up in almost different places there. Ryan Steele's trying to get that nose just inside of Mike Fisher so he can't cut down in front of him, and then he'll take that run off the corner to try and make that pass coming down the front or backstretch, depending on where they're at.
Diving in quite a bit deeper into turn 3 as well, as we continue to ride on board with Ryan Steele. Christian Bishop starting to pressure behind Steele a little bit. Brian Barnes has bounced back from his little contact with the wall, and Julian Ricci has retaken the position he lost after he hit the outside fence.
Yeah, it takes them a couple laps to get back to where they got their speed back up where they were. But after that, they close in pretty quickly on the drivers that just passed them.
Battle for 5th, Mike Fisher in the AOL Toyota Tundra. Winning on debut at Bristol last week. Again, running out of fuel coming out of turn 4 on the final lap. Caused a little bit of a pile up. Catches the outside wall there out of turn 2. Just a little bit of shaving. A little bit, Brian Barnes doing a little bit more than just a shave going through 3 and 4 there.
Yeah, he cut those fenders in by an inch or so the way he was riding that wall. Ryan Steele still on that back bumper of Fisher, trying to look to the inside to make that pass. He just can't quite get enough speed to do it as he pulls down again.
Steele is trying to get as straight as he possibly can coming off of turn 2 to try to get that speed down the back straightaway. He's just unfortunately not close enough to Fisher to be able to get the move done. A little bit closer than he was a little bit ago, but he lost about 1/10 of a second going into the corner, but he's going to gain it all back here on exit. And again, just not close enough.
Yeah, it seems like Fisher gets a little bit better drive into the corner, but Steele has the better drive off. But Steele needs to watch his back bumper as Christian Bishop is looking to pass him.
And Christian Bishop is really starting to turn up the pressure. That NASA number 26 machine. So you swing from outside to bottom, right at that little cut at the very back end of the corner. It's almost like a double apex corner on a road course. You want to try to clip that at the perfect spot to get the best launch you can going down the straightaway. Bishop got it a little bit better than Steele there, but also might be being held up by Mike Fisher a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like Fisher's pretty much holding up both of them because I don't know that Bishop wants to get stuck down on the inside trying to pass both of them at the same time. But he seems to be just a little bit faster. Just can't quite get the run to make that pass.
Sebastian Vettel is starting to fall back to earth a little bit. The gap that was around 2.5 seconds is now shrinking. It is down to 1.8 seconds. It has slowly come down over these last handful of laps as Ross Rawlings in the 91 starts to really reel Jeff Schmeier in.
Yeah, those two guys are the faster ones on the track. The gap from Schmeier back to third place is still over 2.5 seconds. So it'll be interesting to see if Ross Rawlings can close up this gap before the guys back in third and fourth make that run up into the battle for the lead there.
Those two are starting to get really, really close with each other. That's Wayne Hutchison and Jeff Hollingsworth. 1 and 2 in the points right now, running 1 and 3 on the racetrack. It's Hollingsworth again, just not really seeming too eager to make a move on the number 17 right now. Seems as though he's just biding his time, trying to run that right front off of Wayne Hutchison a little bit.
Yeah, it looks like he's almost just, like you said, biding his time, trying to maybe save a little bit of tires. Because it looks like he has the speed here that he could pull down and try and make that pass, but he just elects to stay behind him here.
It's like a road course. You really have to pick and choose your spots. And there he is. He's chose his spot now. Hollingsworth looking to the inside of Wayne Hutchison. Going into turn 3, Hutchison gives it up, now trying to cross back over, looking to the inside in 3 and 4. He's not going to be close enough. Hollingsworth to the final podium spot.
Yeah, it looked like Hollingsworth almost drove it in a little too much there and slid up the track. Hutchinson tried to cross him over, but just didn't have enough speed to make it work.
Big wiggle out of Jeff Hollingsworth there. Starting to run away from Wayne Hutchison a little bit. Meanwhile, Fisher, Steele, and Bishop are still right in lockstep with each other. Connection issue there for Fisher and a big wiggle by Christian Bishop.
Yeah, that back end just wanted to come out from under that 26 there, but he's able to gather it back in. We'll see how long it takes him to catch back up to Steele, as Steele is still trying to pass Mike Fisher here.
A little bit further back, Paul Crumry starting to work his way back up through the field. Started 13th, is running in 12th. Does have Julian Ricci right in front of him. Now Ricci's been in the wall a couple of times in that number 1. Shortened up the right side of that truck a little bit, as has Josh Weaver, it would appear, running right behind him. Weaver in that number 2, coming off a second place finish at Bristol last week.
Yeah, thought he almost was going to bring home the W as fast as Fisher was stalling out there, but just enough momentum to pass that finish line did Fisher have. So had to settle for a second place, but heck of a run anyway. You see Barry Phil behind him, getting almost a little loose into that outside wall, but able to stay off of it.
Just trying to think that he appeared, I could have sworn Weaver had led a good little chunk of laps. I just looked back at the race results. He didn't lead at all at Bristol last week, which is kind of surprising with how much he was up in the front. You would think at some point you'd find yourself in the lead at least by accident, especially at a place like Bristol.
I could have swore he led a lap, but I guess not. I mean, I guess he was just running second and third for the majority of the race.
We were looking back at him. This is on board with Jeff Hollingsworth getting around Ross Rawlings going into turn 3. That was for second position. As those guys were fighting, Jeff Schmeier now has that lead open up to 2.7 seconds.
Well, like I said, when we were watching the second place truck there of Ross Rawlins, if that other group starts to make ground, which they got hooked up and away they go, could be trouble for them. They do have a lap truck now in between them and Jeff Schmeier.
Jeff Hollingsworth winning the pole at the first couple of races this season. Also the winner at Dover to begin the year in that number 97. Looked to be very dominant at Kansas as well. Unfortunately has not been able to pick up a win since that opening round. As a matter of fact, we have not had a duplicate winner yet this season. Jeff Schmeier, if he were to win here tonight, which will be his second win here at Darlington in the last 4 races held at this track, he would continue that trend, make it 6 for 6 to start the season.
Yeah, and the 2 guys behind him would give us our repeat winner. So we'll see if they're going to be able to catch him and put him and get themselves a repeat win and help the points for themselves here.
Ross Rawlings winner at Talladega, as we see Mike Fisher looking to the inside and then peek back in line behind Wayne Hutchison.
Yeah, Wayne Hutchison was one of the faster trucks on track, moving up through the field a little bit. Mike Fisher was one of the slower ones fading back, so I wonder if Fisher was kind of saving his tires there for a little bit, as we are 30 laps into this 117-lap race. So you should see people start to move up and down the track to find a place to run to get that grip that they're missing right now.
Ooh, somebody caught the wall. I'm not sure if it was Fisher or Steele. Steele reacted like he was coming off of the wall. If you're wondering where the third driver in that trio of, ooh, that was a hard hit to the outside wall there from Ross Rawlings, losing him a ton of ground, not just on Jeff Hollingsworth, who's now 1.4 seconds in front of him, losing ground to the 3 drivers behind him. Well, he's
like
really
Dustin
got them
Burns
bundled up.
I would say Dustin Burns was low, staying out of the way. Now they're 2 by 2.
Hutchinson on Rawlings, Steele on Fisher, and Steele finally, after sitting behind that 43 for about 25 laps, now gets by him as here comes Christian Bishop trying to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, Christian Bishop just jerked that wheel hard to the left and made that pass like he was standing still there. So Steele and Bishop seem to be one of the more fast trucks on track. They just got held up there by Fisher for a little while, and now that they're out, they're driving away pretty well here.
Both saying finally we've gotten around that 43. Could start to really push now as Hutchinson leading this line. 3 seconds the gap now in all that fighting, all that side-by-side racing between second and third. Jeff Schmeier out in front of the field by 2.25 seconds as Ryan Steele now up into third place, getting around Wayne Hutchison.
Yeah, Ryan Steele has got to be enjoying that breath of fresh air he has right now. Now he just has to catch Jeff Hollingsworth, who is almost 3 seconds in front of him now.
Reading on the scroll on your screen right now that due to a YouTube streaming issue, all broadcasts over the course of the next week and a half will be here on Facebook. We will let you guys know the status of what's going on, not just on our Facebook channel, but also on our Twitter page at Sim Racing Media 1 to let you guys know when we will be going back to streaming on YouTube full time. But for right now, at least the next week and a half, we will be back. We'll be back here running primarily on Facebook, and these races are being recorded and will be uploaded to YouTube within 24 hours. So these races will be on YouTube, just not live.
Yeah, give us a little bit something different. Maybe get these guys a little bit more exposure with the Facebook share and stuff, because Western States definitely has these has a Facebook page up, so can't hurt anything to try something a little different for a little bit while we sort out an issue.
Absolutely. Ross Rawlings now starting to really fall off as that's Brian Barnes catching the outside wall in 1 and 2 in the number 14. Jeff Schmeier showing the way here at Darlington, almost 40 laps in. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You are watching round number 6 action for the Western States Racing League from the Lady in Black. Pit stop cycle is beginning here in the Western States Racing League. Round number 6 from the Darlington Raceway. Jeff Schmeier has led from pillar to post thus far. We saw Wayne Hutchison come in last time by. Jeff Hollingsworth and Ross Rawlings making their way down pit road here. Lap 44, right around the perfect spot to pit on, say, I don't know, lap 88 and split this race into 3 even parts.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to do that, especially if they keep running the way they're running. Have to find something different in order to make up that huge pace difference that Jeff Schmeier has versus almost the rest of the field.
Well, this is not all that uncommon. Bentley Glazer led 128 of 147 laps here last season. Ryan Steele led the other 19. However, the year before that, he led all 117 laps here at this racetrack. So it's not all that uncommon, at least here as Christian Bishop comes down pit road. It's not all that uncommon to see one guy get out front and then just run away with it.
No, they've been here basically 4 times, and they've hardly had any real lead changes. So, I mean, kind of expected whoever's fast on any given night is just going to kind of lead the way for a little bit. We'll see what happens later in the race, but as of right now, Jeff Schmeier has found something on track, and he is just letting that truck go through the corners.
There have been 16 lead changes over the last 4 races here in the Western States Racing League. 12 of them happened in the first race, as here comes Jeff Schmeier now. Down pit road, taking it in pretty hot, but he'll get it woed down in time. Ryan Steele will stay out. Schmeier does not get the clean sweep tonight.
No, he does not. He elected to pit when everybody else around him kind of hasn't yet, but we'll see how long Ryan Steele stays out. Ryan Steele is one of the more, I don't know, I'd say aggressive when it comes to pit strategies, as he's usually the one that pushes the limit as far as he can in the first stint and then kind of figures it out on the back end, which I imagine that's what he's doing right now.
Ryan Steele, over the last 3 races here, Ryan Steele has led the second most amount of laps here at this racetrack. That would be 58. Over the last 3 races here, Bentley Glazer, once again, are you ready for this? Bentley Glazer has led 321 laps to Ryan Steele's second most at 58.
That's just insane.
Brian Barnes down pit road. Eric Woods. Just saw Barry Phil on and off.
There's about 5 drivers yet to pit at the moment.
The undercut has worked out quite significantly in Jeff Hollingsworth's favor. He will cycle out to be the race leader when the pit cycle is done and over with. Wayne Hutchison in second. There is Jeff Schmeier just behind him in the effective 3rd position after this pit cycle.
Yeah, we'll see how well Jeff Schmeier's truck works if he gets caught up in traffic. If it's just single trucks, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue, but if he gets 3 or 4 around him, you never know how that truck's going to work once it gets that dirty air around him.
Mike Fisher down pit road from second. Only Ryan Steele, Julian Ricci, who is riding the wall through 3 and 4, and Josh Weaver have yet to pit.
Mike Fisher in the pits.
So it'll definitely be at least another lap here for Ryan Steele. See what he does here is he's got Paul Crumry and Josh Weaver, pardon me. in front of him. Josh Weaver running in third to be put a lap down here. And Steele will be running another lap.
Like I said, he usually is one of the more aggressive drivers when it comes to these pit strategies. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he's one of the only trucks out here that hasn't hit pit lane yet.
And this series tends to short pit a little bit on that first stint to kind of gauge where their tires are and what the fuel mileage is. However, that short pitting sometimes leads to the opening of multiple strategy options, and Ryan Steele has taken that opening as Jeff Schmeier has taken the opening on the bottom line that Wayne Hutchison left him. First passes second in the points for fifth on the racetrack.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier is going to be looking to catch Hollingsworth here, but he's not quite there yet. He's got
blocked up big time right now.
Yeah.
Josh Weaver, the two
Weaver
got pushed
into the wall.
He's well enough off the racing line. Caution may not come out.
And it
will not.
Doesn't. I don't know. I think if you're Ryan Steele, you almost wanted to see that.
It would have definitely played in his favor. Not sure if Hollingsworth caught him or not.
I don't know. It looked like he might have just taken a little bit of air off of that left rear quarter panel, and he just went around.
Oh, if anything, he clipped that left rear.
Just barely.
Yeah, it wasn't by much, but even just in that corner alone, that cost Hollingsworth a good second and a half, and he's getting held up again here. This time, about to get his lap back off of Ryan Steele the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, and Schmeier just pulled in tight to Eric Woods there, looking to work his way around him to get up here in this battle with these top three drivers here.
Eric Woods did come into pit, by the way, so Woods is on the same pit cycle as the guys around him, as Schmeier really pulling down to the inside to try to get around him as Hollingsworth gets his lap back. Schmeier looking to follow through, as is Wayne Hutchison. So now the chase is on for what the effective race lead would be between the 97 and the 30.
Yeah, and Ryan Steele stuck up high there for a little bit, so even if he wanted to go to pit that time, he couldn't have made it down there anyway.
He would need to go about 7 or 8 more laps if he wanted to make it a one stop, and I think that right there signals he is coming in. So lap 120, 60 to 120. No, he can make it the rest of the way here.
Looks like he's not the only one, as Julian Ricci is hitting pit lane right now too. So a couple guys trying to make it on one stop.
Yeah, Earl Weaver in as well. So it's going to be, well, we made the Sebastian Vettel remark before. It's turning into an F1 race now. It's 2 stoppers versus 1 stoppers.
Yeah, definitely see which strategy pays off, but Ryan Steele out there running his lap. I mean, his lap times weren't that much different than the guys that just came out on fresh tires. I mean, you know, a few tenths here and there, but we'll see if he's going to be able to. He should be able to make it to the end. So as long as we don't get any cautions, he definitely is on the right strategy, I believe.
And he was a lap even ahead of Jeff Hollingsworth and Jeff Schmeier. They had just passed him to get back on the lead lap. Steele will come out in P8, about 20 seconds off of the race lead. However, compared to Hollingsworth, he has 17 lap fresher tires And compared to pretty much anybody else, he's got at least 8 laps on everybody else.
Yeah.
Battle for the lead.
Battle for the lead, yeah. Schmeier pulls down to the inside. Is going to make that pass on Hollingsworth as he gets just a little bit of wiggle there as he was coming out of turn 4, but he's going to complete that pass here in 1 and 2.
So Jeff Schmeier back to the race lead. Back where he was at the beginning of this race. And again, it didn't take him long to really run away from the rest of this field. And now that he's got a gauge on his tire wear, I'm sure he'll be looking to bust out a little bit quicker this time around. Schmeier, Hollingsworth, Hutchison, Bishop, Rawlings, your top 5 right now.
Yeah, after pit cycles, everybody pitted. Earliest pit was Wayne Hutchison at 41, up in 3rd place. Schmeier at 47. And then you have the Ryan Steele back there at 59. So we'll see if that strategy is going to pay dividends for him. It might be interesting to see, though, how far he could have gone, or if he just elected to split the race in half.
Ryan Steele with a very very familiar, I should say, look in front of him. Spent about the first 25 laps stuck behind Mike Fisher, and now he's stuck behind him again. This time, though, he's got about an 8-lap tire advantage. Inside goes Steele, gets to the corner, and going into turn 1, I'm sure this will be a done deal. There it is.
Yep, as soon as he got down to the inside on that corner coming off, he just carried his momentum through the straightaway, and away he goes. Barry Phil there.
Just to say, that's Barry Phil in front of him here, and Ryan Steele, for the moment, is done passing cars for a while because 7.8 seconds ahead of him is this battle here for 5th. Ross Rawlings has it. Brian Barnes wants it. And these guys are still trying to run away from Steele. Now 7.5 seconds as there goes Barnes looking to the inside. Aggressive move, but makes it work.
Yeah, you see these guys try and pass and then slide up as they come through the corner. It is not the place you want to try and slide up on, because if you get a little bit loose, you're going around.
We'll continue on with the jokes. Jeff Schmeier in that number 30 RB6. That was the name of Sebastian Vettel's Red Bull back in 2010. Has done it again. He has gotten out to a 2.5 second lead since he has passed Jeff Hollingsworth. So that car, boy, Jeff Schmeier is on rails tonight. To not be denied.
Yeah, and it's just like 1 or 2 laps that he just runs away. I mean, if you look at their last lap times, Jeff Schmeier was actually slower than Jeff Hollingsworth, but he still is out to over 2-second lead.
Part of that would have had to have been with traffic, as there's the 07 of Keith Kellman in front of Jeff Schmeier now. Kellman in that Red Bull sponsored car, pulling off to the side and allowing him to go. You can have 3 lap cars between Schmeier and Hollingsworth.
And they're all spread out.
Yep, that's the view that Hollingsworth has right now as Kellman bails out of the way. That is
Earl Weaver in front of him.
Paul Crumry, I believe, the next car in front. Those two not racing for position. Paul Crumry running in 10th place right now. Earl Weaver 2 laps behind the number 88. As we're looking, we're getting closer and closer to the pit cycle kicking off once again. Getting around that time where the 2 stoppers should be coming into pits soon. And that will give them about 40 or so laps to try to catch Ryan Steele, who the last time we left him had a 7.5 second gap to overcome to the pair in front of him. And he's cut that down to 2 seconds, has Ryan Steele.
Yeah, Ryan Steele got out in the open, and he is just turning those laps. He's running faster lap times than the leaders are right now. So he's even gaining on them. Yeah.
Came out of pit road about 20 seconds behind the lead pair of Jeff Schmeier and Jeff Hollingsworth. He's now 13 seconds. He's pulled a full 7 seconds back on the front 2.
Kind of has me wondering how nervous Schmeier and Hollingsworth are, knowing that Ryan Steele just made that one stop and is just running crazy fast lap times right at the moment.
The pressure is going to be on them to try to, 1, most likely get a lap back, and 2, get around the circuit again to try to pass him a second time, as here comes Steele right to the back of Ross Rawlings. Ryan Steele, there are 3 guys, sorry. There are 3 guys trying to do this one-stop strategy, and Ryan Steele is the only one of consequence to the race leaders. The other 2 trying to do it are Earl Weaver and Dustin Burns.
Yeah, Ryan Steele is just driving away. If he gets up closer to the leaders within that, say, 5 or 6 second mark, it is going to be hard for them to A, get their lap back, and B, catch him again.
Misspoke there. Julian Ricci also on the one stop. So 4 drivers on track trying the one stop, and Ryan Steele the only one of immediate consequence. For the 5 drivers in front of him, Schmeier, Hollingsworth, Hutchison, Bishop, and Barnes, your current running top 5.
Yep. Jeff Schmeier is almost putting on a clinic here. He's out to almost 4 seconds now over Jeff Hollingsworth.
I think Hollingsworth just slapped the wall coming out of turn 4, so that's certainly not going to help him in his fight to try to catch back up to that 30. Wayne Hutchison about 4 seconds behind Hollingsworth, so the gap, the front and back of that number 97 is about equal. Christian Bishop only 1.2 seconds behind Hutchison, and then he has 2 seconds on Brian Barnes, who now only has about a second on Steele.
As Steele is trying to make his way up there as quick as he can. He had that open air, and he's caught up to Josh Weaver there.
Again, the pressure is going to be, as Weaver ducks out of the way, the pressure is going to be on Schmeier and Hollingsworth to try to use those tires as much as he can to catch back up, as here comes Brian Barnes pitting a little bit early from when the last cycle started. Schmeier and Hollingsworth are going to have to get back around the racetrack, get their laps back, and then get back around the track again, all in what we're anticipating between 40 and 45 laps. And that's, again, barring no caution coming out.
Yeah, that's one thing that's going to probably have them a little bit cautious about pulling this out, because if a caution comes out and they get stuck that lap down, that is definitely not somewhere they're going to want to be. Maybe that's why Brian Barnes decided to come in now, give himself a few more laps to try and make that time back up.
Schmeier coming in. So Schmeier is going to give himself about 46 laps to try to catch up to Ryan Steele. I love these pit strategy races. Ooh, and Hollingsworth
right
really
into the
slamming
wall.
the wall.
He's coming into pit now.
Yep, trying to cover off Jeff Schmeier.
So Hutchinson stays out. Ryan Steele up to second place.
Christian Bishop coming down pit road as well, as is Ross Rawlings. Jeff Schmeier down and away. Hutchison, Steele, and Fisher, your top three as they sit. Hutchison, we're expecting to pit soon. As a matter of fact, he's going to pit now. And now the chase is on. Jeff Schmeier has to make up 33 and a half seconds on Ryan Steele. In other words, a full lap if he wants to win this race.
Well, looking at the scoring here, looks like Mike Fisher pitted on lap 51. So if there's any way he can get a few more laps out of that, he might have a chance at least grabbing a podium spot. But we'll see how that plays out here as Schmeier makes that pass on Ryan Steele.
Schmeier gets the lap back, so now he has to go a full lap to try to catch up to Ryan Steele. Steele is not going to pit. This is the fun and excitement of two stop versus one stop.
Well, like I said earlier, Ryan Steele's one of the guys that likes to press that first stint as far as he can. He lives and dies by it, and he's done pretty well so far.
Christian Bishop on fresh tires, looking to the outside of Wayne Hutchison, who just came off of pit road. Warm tires versus cold tires. 26 has the advantage. 26 has the spot up to P6. Goes Christian Bishop.
Brian Barnes pitting early is up into the top 5 now, just behind Hollingsworth and Schmeier.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, he didn't pit too early. We thought he did.
Nope.
He came into pit on lap 79, and we were expecting guys to double the stint up, which means the cycle would be starting around now. But no, Schmeier only came in 2 laps after. Hollingsworth came in the lap after that, so Brian Barnes is the one that pulled everybody in, and now he's getting past second place Mike Fisher right now, who, as you had mentioned, is right on the cusp of being able to make it the rest of the way after coming in on lap 51.
Yeah, that's going to be the guy to watch. I mean, last week he ran out of fuel coming to the start-finish line, and he might do it again this week.
He's looking to go 2 for 2 in more than one ways. Trying to win 2 for 2 on the season and run out of fuel on the last lap doing it as he gets into the wall there. He's going to have an almighty drive here. He's about 7.5 seconds off of Ryan Steele at the moment, who is still gapping him by quite a margin. He was about a second quicker than Fisher that last lap.
Yeah, you gotta think that Fisher's trying to save fuel if he is going to make that just his only stop on lap 51.
Come up about 15 laps short if he were to split it in half and come in at lap 102 would be when he is done. Update on the Schmeier chase. He has gained about 10 seconds on Ryan Steele. He started this journey 33.5 seconds back. He is now 24.5 seconds to the arrears of Ryan Steele.
And he's running a little over a half second faster a lap than Ryan Steele right now. So he is definitely driving as hard as he can to try and get back up to the race lead there.
Certainly catching him, but what will happen first? Will the 30 catch up to the 12, or will the checkered flag fall? Ryan Steele certainly is hoping for the latter as he gets passed by Jeff Schmeier. Steele on the one stop running in first. Jeff Schmeier on the two stop running in third. Under 40 laps to go here from Darlington Raceway. We'll take you to the finish after this. Western States Racing League action, round number 6 from the Darlington Raceway. Again, the chase is on. Ryan Steele with a one stop. Jeff Schmeier on a two stop. We spoke to you just before the commercial. It was a 22-second gap that Jeff Schmeier had to try to overcome. It's now down to 15 seconds with just under 20 to go.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier is putting those tires to work. Last lap was a 30.49, almost a full second faster than Ryan Steele. So we're going to be watching to see how these lap times adjust as those tires start to wear, especially for Jeff Schmeier, as Ryan Steele is definitely in the tire wear groove there.
Seeing it on your screen right now. He's either been a second or it's just about 9/10 of a second or faster than Ryan Steele every single lap, and that is what he needs to do. Only about 6/10 of a second faster that lap. And Schmeier, that's why he's stuck in a little bit of traffic, just got past Paul Crumry, now having to try to get around the 718 of Angelo Espo, who moves way out of the way.
Yeah, Angelo Espo not rocking that jet scheme anymore. Got down and out of the way so Schmeier could maintain his speed and try and catch these two leaders of Mike Fisher and Ryan Steele.
Earl Weaver in the background having a big moment there. Let's talk about Angelo Espo here for a second. He's running in 19th position right now, which is far from where he wants to be. Comes into this race 11th in points. Didn't have the greatest of races back at Dover to start the season. 25th, 18th at Kansas, 8th at Talladega, 18th at Mid-Ohio, but then managed a top 10 finish last week at Bristol. So Angelo Espo having a very, very good season, putting it together. This is shaping up right now to be his worst finish since the season opener at Dover.
Yeah, he's definitely been putting in the work, it looked like. Him and his his truck there just can't seem to catch a break on some of these tracks. Gets involved in a little bit early incident and finds himself a couple laps down. Goes to the pits and gets it all fixed up as we jump back to Mike Fisher and Jeff Schmeier battling for second place here.
This could be a big benefit for Ryan Steele here because Fisher has no obligation to move over for him as Schmeier makes the pass going into turn 3. Nobody for position between 1 and 2.
Now we're down to 11.5 seconds. A little over 10 laps to go.
Oh, this is so good.
Man.
I told you during the break, thinking back to all those mid-2000s F1 races where Michael Schumacher would be on a 4-stop strategy trying to chase down and close a 30-second gap on Fernando Alonso, who was on a 3-stop. And just that chase all culminating at the very end of the race. Both tires were worn. Both guys were worn out. It's shaping up to be one of those finishes here tonight, and I am so here for it. 10 seconds in 12 laps.
And Ryan Steele has hit a little bit of traffic there, so that's only going to help Schmeier catch him a little bit, but Schmeier is also starting to catch those lap trucks.
It's David Weaver in the 16, Barry Phil there as well in the 42, as Josh Weaver has had another incident. See what happened with Josh Weaver as he is down on pit road, so no caution once again. Well, looks like he's just pulling off and stopping. Going into the pits. And yep, just pulls off and stops.
Looks like Steele let Ross Rollins go so he can kind of stay behind him and just maintain his groove. Like you said, it is a rhythm track. Ryan Steele gets back in his rhythm. We'll see how that goes because last lap, he gained a little bit more time.
I'm starting to pull a little bit of time back on Jeff Schmeier. Schmeier caught behind Barry Phil, now finally does get past him. Take a look at the track map. Look for number 30. He's only got Julian Ricci between himself and the 12. He's got 9 laps to try to make up 10.5 seconds. This is starting to look like it's leaning more and more towards Ryan Steele in the 1 stop.
Ryan Steele made that strategy call early, and we'll see how it all pans out, but he has got that rhythm going. He is losing a little bit of time, but I don't know that it's going to be enough to matter, because right now Jeff Schmeier is going to have to make up almost a second a lap or more in order to catch Ryan Steele.
Now, part of the reason why the longer this race goes, green, and the longer this run goes, as Mike Fisher now comes down pit road with 8 laps to go, so Fisher unfortunately couldn't make it. These tires tend to hit a performance floor, and once they hit that, it's really hard to pick up some time. Now, Ryan Steele has been nursing these tires, so it's taken him a lot longer to get to that performance floor. Meanwhile, Schmeier has been plugging away, trying to get time back. Boy, really gained some time there. It was a 31.91 for Ryan Steele last time around. Schmeier a 31.21. Don't send any flowers because he ain't dead yet.
I don't know, Frank. It looks like he's on the verge. He's on life support. 7 laps to go, 9 seconds.
He's going to have to put in some otherworldly laps, and unfortunately for him, Ryan Steele does not have lap traffic in front of him. Ross Rawlings is ahead of the 12. However, he is not pulling away. He is pulling away from Ryan Steele. So nothing to slow him up. This time only a couple tenths quicker was Jeff Schmeier.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier has that gap down to 8.5 seconds, but Ryan Steele, 5 to go.
See the time delta between the two. 8.5 seconds is the gap, and yep, as the laps are starting to tick away, it is looking less and less likely that number 30 is going to be able to take this win, which is so unfortunate because he was so good here today.
Yeah, Jeff Schmeier dominated the early part of this race, and even after Ryan Steele had to come to pits, Jeff Schmeier looked like he was going to run away with this. The only thing that saved Ryan Steele was the fact that he was one of the only trucks to elect to do that one stop, and it paid off as he's been able to run away and not have any other problems.
As we spoke about before, 5 unique winners in 5 different races. This will still be 6 for 6 going into the Valentine's Day off week next week. 4 races in these trucks down, just 6 to go in this car. Next time you see this series will be 2 weeks' time, hopefully back on YouTube, in the Xfinity cars at Texas Motor Speedway.
That gap is still getting smaller, but Ryan Steele is going to come to the start-finish line. 2 to go this time.
It's a full lap, plus a little bit, plus about 2 seconds or so. It's appearing to be a little bit too much for Jeff Schmeier to be able to overcome. Lap and a half to go.
Just has to hit his marks and drive away. White flag is in the air. Ryan Steele is actually beginning to pull away some more on Jeff Schmeier here. Looks like he might have hit a little bit of traffic or scraped the wall or something.
Yeah, Schmeier caught the wall.
He dropped almost a third of a second.
Well, Ryan Steele may not have had the fastest car here tonight, but he had the pit strategy to get him into victory lane. Ryan Steele takes his first win here this season at round 6 from Darlington Raceway. What a night.
What a strategy call.
And the only way that works is if something that hardly ever happens comes to fruition, a caution-free race at Darlington, and that's exactly what we got here tonight.
Yeah, I don't think anybody else was thinking they were going to go caution-free, but Ryan Steele made the right pit strategy call for that. Jeff Schmeier had the dominant car, but comes up just short in P2.
He banked on the quality of the drivers in the series, did Ryan Steele, and it worked for him tonight. As Ryan Steele comes away with his first win of this season. Looks like some guys might still be trying to finish this race. As Steele going for the victory lap as we wait for these drivers to come into the voice chat here so we can have a word. Boy, oh boy, again, it's just a great strategy. And again, it's relying completely on your competitors to be able to put together a full race at a track like Darlington without having a caution. And fortunately for Ryan Steele, and I would say for us as well, this series was up to that task tonight.
Yeah, heck of a race. Had a little drama there building late. I think if Jeff Schmeier would have pitted just a little bit earlier, we might have seen a little bit different outcome. It might have been a little bit closer, but heck of a strategy call by Ryan Steele, and I mean, heck of a race anyway by Jeff Schmeier.
Still waiting on these guys to jump into the chat here for interviews. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the finishing results here for tonight's race. Your race winner, Ryan Steele. See him continuing his victory laps. Ryan Steele, Jeff Schmeier, Jeff Hollingsworth. Your top three finishers, Christian Bishop, Ryan Barnes, rounding out the top five. Wayne Hutchison, Ross Rawlings, Charles Woods, Mike Fisher, and Julian Ricci rounding out the top half of the field. Eric Woods, Barry Phil, David Weaver, Earl Weaver, and Dustin Burns, your top 15. Keith Kelman, Paul Crumry, Angelo Espo, Josh Weaver, and James Campbell. The finishing order here. Campbell, the only DNF, or pardon me, Josh Weaver and James Campbell, your two DNFs here tonight. Fred Williams and Will Fletcher did not start. Did not start this race here tonight, as now I believe we have some of our guys. Mike, you are with our race winner, Ryan Steele.
Ryan, man, heck of a strategy call there. Was that always kind of your plan to make this a one-stop race?
I didn't necessarily plan it, but it just kind of fell into my lap when I was driving around and I was seeing people pit early, and I was looking at my estimated laps, and I'm like, I can make it halfway. I can make it halfway by at least a lap. So I went ahead and tried it. I was like, well, why not? I think I'm going to be in good position. Honestly, the scariest thing at the end was hoping I didn't get a flat tire.
Yeah, you definitely drove the wheels off of that thing. You came out and were able to basically have the right pit strategy. Were you trying to save a little bit of your tires there at the end and have something left maybe for Jeff Schmeier if he caught you?
Yeah, kind of in general, I was just saving tires, which is also part of the reason why I probably was able to save enough fuel too, where I didn't want to try to go all out as fast as I could at pretty much any point in the run. I was always just being a little bit under the limit. And especially at the end, once Jeff had hit the wall and I had an 8-second gap with 8 laps to go, I was like, I've got a margin here. I can make sure I don't get a flat tire, because that was about the only thing that was going to stop me if I got a meatball flag and was forced to pit. And yeah, that was about it.
Awesome. Well, heck of a run. Heck of a pit strategy call, as I said earlier. Anybody you want to thank on that truck before we let you get to celebrating your win?
Well, I've always got to thank the team for helping out with preparation. I mean, heck, it was Wayne discussing, like, oh, I could maybe make it halfway. It was actually my first hint that I should try it. I got to thank Jeff for making it exciting. He was, while he's also my teammate, he was also a little bit of public enemy number one because he got his Daytona 500 win this past Sunday. The rest of the team didn't have a great day. So I was like, no, you don't win that and also win this. But also, I got to thank you guys for covering the series.
Awesome. Well, congrats again, Ryan, and we will let you go celebrate your win.
All right, thank you.
So that was your race winner, Ryan Steele. We will now bring in our second place finisher tonight, Jeff Schmeier. Jeff, boy, that thing was on rails, and it come down to the end of the race. The chase was on, unfortunately, just a little bit short.
Yeah, I was doing my best to try to chase it down, but yeah, I just kind of burned up all my stuff at the end there.
Did you think you had a chance, seeing as though you were gaining as much as you were, even though you had a full lap plus about 2 or 3 seconds before you can get back to him?
I'm not sure. Maybe if I had come in, I don't know if I'd come in a couple of laps later or a couple of laps earlier, would have had a different strategy, or I would have had a different amount of tires or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. It's just I think what really happened was I started to push too hard, and I got in the wall a couple of times and kind of ruined my momentum.
Yeah, how going back to the first half of this race, just how were you able to get out to such a lead as quick as you were? I mean, it's, as I said, that car looked like it was on rails tonight.
I was able to settle down once I got a little bit of a lead. I got a good jump off the start. I was out a second and a half or so by a couple of laps. So at that point, it was just all about keeping a rhythm and keeping my car under me, and yeah, that seemed to help a lot with all of them kind of duking it out behind me.
All right, we get our first week off of the season. We go to Texas in the Xfinity cars in 2 weeks' time. What are your thoughts going to Texas in the Xfinity?
I like Texas. At least in the trucks, I like Texas. I'm not really sure how it's gonna change in the Xfinity cars, but I'm always looking forward to a good. That one's got a lot of drafting and stuff like that, so it's gonna be one of those we're all gonna be on top of each other. But hopefully, I can survive that one and keep the points lead.
I'm sure you'll learn this very, very quickly in practice, but the key word for Xfinity at Texas is roll, roll, roll. As anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, of course I gotta thank Dog Bear. We had the Major State 500 on Sunday, and I was able to win the race with great help from them. So I gotta thank them always. And then of course I gotta thank my parents, my sister, my girlfriend, and my girlfriend's parents. They watch all the time. Just gotta say I love you guys.
All right, bud. Congratulations, Jeff Schmeier, your second place finisher tonight. And with that, Mike, to Jeff Hollingsworth you go.
Hey, Jeff, man, heck of a run. You were able to get a podium finish here.
Hey, man, thanks.
Do you think you could have had anything there for Jeff Schmeier after you guys both elected to do the 2-stop race?
Yeah, I didn't even know we could go 1 stop. So congrats to Ryan for that fuel deal, man. That was great. But nah, Schmeier, I was just talking to him, man. He had me beat. The biggest problem for me tonight was trying to get around lap traffic, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, it looked like there were a few guys that had a little bit of issues hitting lap traffic at just the wrong time, and then it just kind of kill your momentum, and you'd have to regroup and try again.
Yeah, it was a pain in the bottom, man. It was a fun race, though. I always loved Darlington. But yeah, those guys, I definitely, probably could have got second. But Schmeier, man, I told him, I said, you're on fire, man. There's no way I didn't have the pace to keep up with you. So good on him.
Yeah, we were sitting up here in the booth watching the 1 stop, and you both battling it out here, trying to catch back up. You guys put on a heck of a show here at Darlington. You guys went 117 laps caution free, so congrats on that.
Yeah, it was great. I really had a good time.
Well, anybody you want to thank for that third place finish tonight?
Of course, my teammates. We had let's see, Ross, Charlie, PK, and Freddie was in here too. And you guys putting on the broadcast. I always like to watch it, and of course Bob, and throw a shout out to Bob. Hope you heal up quick, man. We miss you on the track. And the Coast Guard. And that's it, man.
Awesome. Well, congrats again on your third place finish. Look forward to seeing you a couple weeks when we are back in the Xfinity cars.
All right on. Y'all have a good rest of your week.
Bye, you too.
So that will conclude our evening here, Mike. Just an incredible show. Again, 20 drivers here tonight, caution free at Darlington. We did have a couple of incidents, but they were far enough off the racetrack that we were able to not trigger a caution and keep on going. And because of that, man, we saw some incredible strategy play out.
Yeah, definitely entertaining. Like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, we'll definitely have something happen here because every other race has been the same way. So definitely glad to see that. And it was getting close. I mean, Jeff Schmeier almost got him. I mean, 7 seconds. And like he said in his interview, if he wouldn't have clipped the wall a couple times, maybe pushed it a little too hard, he might have got a little bit closer. But congrats on Ryan Steele on making that pit strategy call.
Yeah, absolutely. It was an incredible night here from Darlington. Again, next week we are off, so no Western States next week because of Valentine's Day. We will see you in 2 weeks' time back in the Xfinity cars from the Texas Motor Speedway. For my broadcast partner, Mike Damoni, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you in 2 weeks from the Lone Star State. Good night, everybody.